It wasn't it the one that Hello, good evening.
Hello?
Good evening.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone who is joining us, of course, in this UVF Volleyball Federation League. We are coming to you live here at the Zambia Sports Grounds, Yes Center. This is the last game of the evening, and of course, it's a game between Police Volleyball Club. They are taking on KVC. My name is Moses, and of course, I'll be your commentator for today. And of course, I'll not be alone. I'll be joined by one of the best, of course, coaches we have on this land right now. She's a renowned coach to all of us, Coach Memory Dube. Coach, you're welcome, and how do you feel today?
It's been a rainy afternoon, a few games distracted, but I'm grateful and I'm happy that we've managed to continue, although players have had to be a bit careful on the previous game. But I'm happy to be here, just doing this commentary with you, Moses. I think it's our first time doing commentary together.
Yes, it's definitely our first time, and I have a lot of hope, and of course, I believe we are going to have a very, very positive ride together. And of course, if you're just joining us online, of course, we welcome you, and you can also always send in your thoughts and, of course, your comments. We are almost getting underway, and as you can see, police right there in their white and dotted blue jerseys, they are taking on, of course, the KVC side donned in red there. And of course, bring you up to speed with these two teams. Police is coming through with, of course, having lost two games. They played the previous weekend. They had Ndeje. They lost 3-0, and of course, before that, they also played the team from Mukono, and that is UCU Doves. They also lost 3-0. Of course, they also played Elion, and that was a game midweek action in Lugogo. They also lost that game 3-0. And of course, looking at the side of KVC, they previously had a game. They played midweek action against KCCA. That game was a tie. They lost 3-2, of course, to KVC, and to KCCA. They also had a game here in NSAMBYA. They played Ndeje, of course, that team that also had a beautiful game over the midweek action against Nemo Stars. KVC came short again of glory. They lost 3-2, and of course, before that game as well, they played Nemo Stars, and that game also went to a decider. And of course, KVC lost that game as well. So these are two teams that have come into this weekend, of course, looking for maximum points. And of course, I'm here with Coach Memory, and of course, she can give us insights looking at these two teams as we prepare for the game.
I think for me, these two teams have really played a volleyball where you can see they're applying themselves. Yes, we're yet to see them win games, but every time they play, I think they do give it their all. But with KVC, obviously, their squad looking a bit way different in this season. Them coming from playing the finals last year, so hopefully today they're going to be looking for that win. However, I know that Police will also be looking for that win there, and we do have the teams on lineup, and I think one of the most interesting facts there, even as we start with the lineups, is that Onapa is starting outside today.
Yeah, you can notably see that, of course, Onapa is starting outside. And if you can take it back to the game they played against KCCA in the arena, you realize that Onapa had to let Rukundo step up for him because I think he was having challenges playing that game. And Rukundo played very well, and maybe that is why the coach has decided to start Rukundo because he really had a very, very wonderful game there. And of course, looking at the police side, we can see Brian Atuhaire is not starting this game. We have Brian there starting that game in the opposite role. And of course, the setter this time round is Hassan Odongo. And you can see Sharif is also being sidelined for now. We have Igune in the middle. He's playing, of course, with Escobar. And Eli is receiving with Opolot.
Yeah, it's really interesting as well from that team to see Sharif as well starting outside as well. So I think this should be an interesting matchup for both the teams, starting the people who we haven't seen really start in these games. 2-2 are the points right there, and KVC getting that side out from none other than Rukundo, as you say, that he has come in and done well in stepping up for Onapa there.
Yeah, and of course that is a backward swing from Ayo. Eli tries to put it down, but of course it goes through, and that's a score for KVC. And KVC, looking at their lineup, of course you can see there are almost three changes. We can see there the setter also is Chris there starting. We see Mwenyi is also in a receiving position there, and of course, like we mentioned about Rukundo earlier on. So I think KVC maybe could have had a different strategy in approach for this game right here.
Yeah, we haven't seen Mwenyi in this whole. This should be his first game, yeah.
Yes,
we have
yes.
seen him though on the bench, play as a coach there, but today he's on court. Also, notably, Charles is playing as a coach. So basically, KVC, most of the players are playing as player coaches there. I think today they have Jensen as the head coach. And the fact that we just had the rain, it might work out for them. Let's see what if police get to realize that as well and try to use the dams as well.
Yeah, and of course we just have to make a small correction. Police is having Musa playing on the middle there. It's not Escobar like I mentioned earlier on, and even Musa has been a player that they have just been introducing in the games, like they bring him as a substitute and so on. But you can see today he has been started. And of course, we need to really take a keen look at the ground here because it's not favorable for, especially our shoes. And players really have to take very, very keen attention to the ground.
Yeah, we use indoor shoes, yet we're actually playing outside. So
yes.
I do feel like if there's a manufacturer out there, they might need to start thinking of making outdoor shoes for us. But yeah, police take to the service line there. Let's see if the service pressure goes on. And it's a service error there from Chitara.
Yeah, that is of course Chitara. And you know, police, I think in the previous games they have played, they have had individuals having issues with service, and they are almost, when you look at Johnny Opolot there, you look at Kitara himself, they are consistently having that ball failing to go over to the opponent side. I think the coaches really have to look into that. Maybe the players are not having enough time to serve, and strategically maybe they have different opinion. But you can see KVC is now stretching their lead. They have 7 points there and 4 for police.
Yeah, it's really up to the coaches most of the time to structure trainings that players do get to save on that court. But let's see if they will improve work. And Ayo gets a swing there. Police really look to be starting a bit way slower than I would have expected for a team that really needs to get that win. I mean, the surface is both equally bad for both teams. Yeah,
it's really bad. But of course, you should really be putting some effort there with, of course, a lot of caution. As you can see, the balls are really landing very, very softly on the side of police, and you can see Chris has just had a service error there.
I think a few of the games I've watched, there are some particular service players as well at KVC, like Chris, the middle blocker, who also equally struggle with service. But we've seen him today. He tried because this was his third service, I guess. And lack of communication there. Are you having to roll that ball over? Can they side out? No, it's picked up easily by Matthew, and Bernard just takes it over and they score. It looks like it's going well for them. What are you predicting?
Yeah, I think KVC is going to come on top here in this game unless anything police comes up with in terms of strategy. But looking at the way police is showing us their body language, KVC may go home with this one.
And I see David there is still wearing that kit. We actually thought he was wearing warm-up kit.
Yes.
But he's still putting on a shirt on top, which most of the times is not allowed if you're a player on the bench and not all the players are putting on, like you have to be putting on the same thing.
Yes.
So I'm wondering what could be the strategy. But also before, when we're counting the number of players, we noticed that they are actually 13, meaning when they're 13, they need 2 liberos.
Yes.
So they're crying there that there was a touch on the ball.
Exactly, and you can see Johnny there trying to signal to the referee that there was a touch, but the referee has maintained his stand, and that is another attack error for Musa Odoi from the middle, and you can see Kavc really looking comfortable in this first set, 11 points to 5.
There've been like 3 attack errors plus the service errors, so definitely how many has Kavc scored? You've scored for them.
You've scored for them, really.
So the first timeout being called by Coach Luke there, that was the first one, and then before the one for where they thought there was a touch. Moses, as a player, would you say it if you touch the ball at this point in time where really we have no cameras and you see that the referee has called timeout? Would you really like, oh, I touched it?
Yeah, but there are those instances where you really feel guilty and you can maybe signal to the ref that I touched. But you know, right now, of course, there was the introduction of the green card for a player that accepts their fault or something like touch on the net or the ball. But in this instance here, you really see that police is desperate to catch up with, of course, the lead that Kavc has already opened here. But nonetheless, the referee is always the center man and he knows what is right.
Especially from our situation here where there is no replay, where no one will get a green card. I don't see a player just saying I touched it unless really someone is hit, and that should be another error. I didn't see the Kavc block that ball, so that's basically quite a lot of errors. That but also the body language. I saw police. Just like a few minutes before the game, they were actually having lunch, they were having meat. And I'm one coach who always be like, I'm not sure if you should be having meat just before a game. And cassava, by the way.
Oh. And you can really, if you look at their last game they played against Ndeje was warming here on court, and police guys were really having a conversation behind there at the parking. And when they came on court, Ndeje was able to run through the first set with a lot of ease, and it is really replicating here what Kavc is doing to them. And you can see the coach is really trying to make the substitutions. Now David is going to come on the opposite position for Kitara, and we have as well seen Ezra come on for Musa Odoi. Yeah, maybe he wants to really try to speed up the game or something. But there goes Chris with the service error.
Yeah, service error. My take on service errors is always, if you're going to make a service error, can it be a service error that will go outside on the opponent side? You never know if it's a speed, they can touch it, it can go on the line as compared to one that hits the net. But police will take that point, whatever the case. And let's see if Kavc are able to maintain that lead. It's a very good lead, and they are a team that we all know if they want, they can actually really just take it easily, especially looking at this lead.
Yeah, Johnny is going to go high above the ground and dump, of course, that ball where Chris is definitely supposed to be covering, but because we talked about the ground not being so friendly, I think he really can't move that fast because of his shoes as well. And police are now closing in slowly. We hope this set really goes on the way of Kavc, because the lead they have opened is really, really a lot. Ayo with a big swing and off the hands of David. Yeah, and Kavc maintain their 7-point lead.
Yeah, right now all they need to do is definitely just have a side-out game. We see that set here quite did not reach, but he was able to take the set where it wants. And that's what I always talk about when I'm here, Moses, to say attackers want to do a lot. The set is really showing you this is where I'm supposed to be going. Yeah. And you see players just trying to force that set to go to the line and all. And another side out there for police.
Yeah, I think you can really see that Johnny there is really having a lot to do, because most of the balls are going to be going to that position where he is. And of course the setter now is having confidence in him. He has to really find a lot of time to break. And David swings big, but is brought down by Rukundo and Bernard.
Yeah, Bernard, the young man who has switched from opposite to middle and back, from middle to opposite and back to middle now again. I thought the previous games with that they played, he was really looking shaky, but he seems to be gaining confidence each and every game.
Yeah, and you can really see that the improvement level for Bernard is really so high. He has really managed to click in that position there, and basically he has been having a good game plan with the other young setter. I think he's called Chris as well.
Yes,
Eddie, I think
Edmond.
Edmond.
Edmond is his
Yes,
name, yes.
yeah,
I
and
think there's a certain way if these young men meet up in schools, they get to have that relationship, that connection. And in volleyball, you do need that.
yeah,
Because even number one, the middle, Christopher, when he's playing with Edmond, you can see his state of mind, you can see his attacks. He gets to be confident as compared to maybe say when they're playing experienced players, the pressure tends to be very high for
very
the young
high.
balls.
Yeah,
That was another service error, by the way, from
John.
John Opolot.
And every time Police is playing, we are very sure that John is going to really have
An error, yeah,
an error in service, and that
that's
is
true.
something you should not be having if you're a player of that quality. And every time he goes to the service box, I think his coach really has to tell him maybe to calm down and maybe just pass that ball. But of course, you can see we talked about the ground, and you can see how Hassan is trying to control his
Control is,
slide there,
yeah.
but he can't.
Sliding volleyball, we call
Yes,
it. Yeah, I like that save from Smith there. It was really tactical, but also a player like Smith, because people are expecting Onapa to be on that court.
yes,
You then start to have to figure out how do we block Smith, because you hardly ever will scout him. You will always be looking at Onapa, and I think it was a good thing, because at times players tend to know how to mark these strong players. So
yeah.
it's a good strategy from KVC for
So
starting.
it was a joint block for Police Eli and Igune, but there was a net fault called on both of them. And now you can see Eli has been substituted by Herbert, who is coming to that receiving position, and a very big block from Chris there, combining to help, of course, another Chris, and they bring down Herbert.
Or they bring him down very fast.
Yes,
Look at that, and the hands are penetrating. That's some of the good blocks that you get not so often, but
indeed.
that's a good block, whatever the case. Is that a second
Yeah,
timeout?
Police is going to go for that second time out, and you can see it is really open now for KVC. They're just 18 points to 9 or for Police, and you can see really Coach Luke is trying to stress his point here for his players. Maybe he's trying to really rally them that, guys, we need to get back to the game. You can do something out of this game.
Yeah, but still, even on that timeout, I see maybe 2 or 3 players paying attention. The others, I see they're listening, but I'm not sure about the urgency. I'm not sure. Body language says a lot.
Yeah.
When they say actions speak louder than words, I guess the person who found that statement had really wisdom, because you tend to see a lot.
Herbert is going to swing again, and it goes wide. And I think Rukundo is really doing well in terms of service. He's really coming straight to Herbert, and of course the libero
Consistently.
there. And I think that is the strategy that KVC is showing us here, because they are all now zoning Herbert in a screen manner. I think they want to force him to error, and you can see they are coming straight at that position. Igune with a big swing.
And that is what they were avoiding.
Yeah.
So it means the minute he missed the 7 save to the libero, that's how they go to side out, which was a good game plan. But he just didn't see that Herbert had moved away there to
Yeah.
get the libero to pass for him. But that's quite clever of Police there to say, you know what, I'll cover for you so that you prepare for that attack there. And the lead is still a huge task for them.
Yeah. And Police is going to do the same. They are going to have the same strategy, and they are going to serve straight to the receiver. That is Mwenyi. And Igune just decides to serve that ball straight to the net.
We still don't have stats. Ken had promised us that he's going to do stats. I also should be doing stats, but if we had stats, that would give us close to 6 or 7 service errors right there for Police, and another service error there from KVC also.
And of course, now you can really see that because KVC is leading, the errors are really becoming a lot also on their side in terms of service. Of course, we have seen a lot from the Police side there. Ayo, the ball is retrieved by Herbert. And it gets Rukundo flat-footed there. And that's a point, of course, for Police.
The ball is going out, and the player is ball watching.
Yes.
And Yeah, those are some of the things in volleyball that you're like, how do you correct that as a coach? Like, how do you tell someone, stop ball watching and play, be part of it, you know? But yeah, that was another point there. And David coming in there with a targeted save. Unfortunately, it's picked well by Matthew, and Christopher gets his first swing, I should say.
Yeah, and of course, coach, if I may ask you, looking at what has just happened to Rukundo there, he was really standing. How best can you maybe tell your players at the backcourt line there, in case these balls come through, how should they react? Because you can see if it found him really standing in a manner that he could not dodge that ball.
My coach would say touch the ground, like when you're crouching, sort of like the squat
Yeah.
position, and you touch the ground, but of course things have changed lately. Endra, who came in there for Christopher to serve and defend, doesn't manage to get that one defense there, but they're just comfortable. They're not being pushed as Herbert goes to the service box right there.
Yeah, I think Kavc is really in the driving seat, and you can see even the cover Endra is doing. He doesn't put a lot of effort because he knows maybe the range is too much for them, for police really to try to cover up. But as well, you can see that's a very big swing from Ayo to go straight to the line.
Yeah, he had a choice. He had
Yes.
a choice. Like, no one made it hard for him. No one showed him, oh, we want to close this. Even on the line, the defender there wasn't looking ready. But let's talk about them picking those receiver attackers in front,
Yeah.
the left side. You can see they've gone to screen there again. But this time, police has said, you know what, we'll put our libero, a block there for Ayo and a Bernard.
Yeah, I think in the setter's mind, he thinks every time this KVC side decides to serve towards his receivers, and when the libero picks the ball, of course, he has to side out with the middleman. But looking at the movement of the middleman, of course, that is Ezra, the man right there on your screen, you can see that he was kind of late, and the setter, of course, as well didn't jump set, and KVC is going to come straight again, and we are going to now see Johnny here retrieved, and of course, Rukundo
And he scores just
very easily.
very easily. I'm wondering why today we're not seeing Sky play that ball onto the position 2 of the backcourt. I don't know if you noticed, Moses is just pushing it to that 4 lazily and is pushing it in the middle. And KVC have convincingly gotten that set 25-13. They didn't struggle at all. They will not be seeing a reason to put the Onapas. I mean, he might as well just
Yeah.
rest because they've got this.
Yeah, and of course, just like that, KVC walks away with the first set in this game, and we are still here. We are, of course, seeing police trying to make them players warm, and you can see Escobar is known as the warm-up man. Of course, back in the days when I was with him in Nemo, we knew him before he gained that weight. We knew him as the warm-up man. He would always be the one to take charge of warm-up. And
Yeah.
you can see even the pre-game warm-up here, he has been the one trying to rally his teammates to warm, and police needs it. They really do. And of course, as we prepare for the second set, coach, what do you think? Is police going to maybe come back with some changes or try to bounce back?
I'm still glued on the fact that I saw them eating meat. I mean, I love meat, and they didn't even give me Moses. But yeah, aside that, meat is really one thing that is hard to digest. So the body is right now struggling to produce energy to play this game, while the digestion system is also needing that, because digestion also uses a bit of that slight energy. So it's like the body is struggling to say, what should I be doing? Should I be digesting? Should I be playing a game? And that's why most of the times, as human beings, naturally, after we eat, we feel like sleeping.
Yes.
Because it's like the body doesn't want to do anything to allow it to digest. So with them, we might see a slight change, because now the body will be really like, okay, this is what we're doing. But I don't think it will be enough. Maybe third set. Yeah, but let's see what happens. But for me, really, their body language, but also the science behind what time should you eat before you play a game says a lot.
Of course, I agree with you, coach. You can see some people do agree with you as well in the comment section. Alan Abak, you're really also talking about the meat before the game. And of course, we want to thank you for your comments. Aziz Ronald, we see you. George William Charles, police is making it too easy for KVC. I think we already discussed about that, coach. We mentioned about the laxity that
Yeah.
police side is having here. But of course, we wait for the second set and see how both teams come up and maybe try to play a better game.
Yeah, I think this is a bit disappointing because the police that we know, even if they lose, it's normally some games that are really fun-filled.
Yes.
You know, games that will keep you on your seat, but not today. So we wait to see the next set if they're going to change anything, and I'm wondering when they will think of putting Sharif.
Yeah, and of course we are back and ready to kickstart our second set. KVC, of course, having the same lineup that they started the game with. Looking at the police side, we of course see David is now starting there, of course, with Johnny. Brian Kitara has been, of course, sidelined. Eli is back as well, and so is Hassan, of course, the setter. The rest, I think, remains the same.
Let's see what David can do. He normally also is one player who puts in a bit of energy for his team, and they serve him first there. And
yeah,
a side out there, even as Ayo slides. So at least it's promising. It's good enough that they get that first point through the middle there.
Yeah, and of course, Igune being a fast center player, he was very easy and very fast for the Bernard there, of course, to stop him. And back goes Ayo. The ball is retrieved. Eli is going to give a free ball, and Kasuja picks it again, and Ayo, big swing straight to the line, and of course the libero can't bring that ball back to action.
Yeah,
and it's a score.
I loved how Kasuja got in there to say, you know what, I'm going to pass that free ball. He's one silent guy, but I think he has the basics,
Yes.
proper basics when it comes to playing that role of passing and the defense.
Yeah, and that is, of course, a reception error from Johnny. I'm going to really think KVC side is going to go a lot for Johnny in terms of service, and you can see how they are bringing their screen back to the middle there. Now Ayo decides to go for Eli, and Igune forces an error from, of course, Bernard the youngster, and it's a score for Police 2-2 so far.
That's one position that they might have to watch right there. We've seen the two scores that the 2 points that they've made them from the middle with the same errors from the block. I think they're going to take advantage of Bernard being in the middle there, and it may mean that KVC might need to even serve way harder than they've been doing. I think for me, Crispus is really doing the kind of volleyball match that I would imagine in terms of his setting.
Yes.
He's not throwing everything to 4, which I always think is lazy setting. And he's thinking, okay, if my middles haven't moved, where do I go to that opposite side? Which Smith has really done justice. He's not going hard. He's just thinking.
Yeah. And of course, Bernard goes, and it's an S service, of course, from Bernard there, and you can see his teammates are really happy, and they appreciate him for that effort.
Fingers crossed, kind of ace, you know. But I mean, they'll take the point. I hope he does better in his next service, and surely he does, and he gets another
ace. And I'm really very certain he's going to keep going. All the KVC side is really going to keep going for Johnny, and that is really an error from Johnny, of course, again. And Bernard is going to go again.
And he goes to the libero, and we see the difference in pass there.
Yes.
Which has scored for them. I like George Williams' comment here. He's saying, but again, what is Police first starting lineup? This business of seeing players today and tomorrow off needs to stop. They get their house in order, or they are going back down faster than they came up. I agree. Honestly, in every other sport, yeah, you will see and know that, you know what, this is how KVC is likely to start up. This is how, because it also shows building of a team and growth. However, maybe that can change when they play maybe weaker teams, but surely by now we should be able to know which one is Police's starting team.
Yeah, and of course we are always here to see and of course to watch, and you can see that is an error from Mwenyi. KVC are really starting this second set on a low, and you can really see that Police, of course, backed up with that experience call from Devi. They are really trying to put themselves together to try and push something out of this second set, and you can see Ayo there is really struggling, and of course the man himself, Mwenyi, comes off with a good attack and off the hands of Hassan, Odongo and Ezra there trying to block him down.
I'm seeing as if they are acclimatizing or getting used to this side as well. It looks like that the other side might be looking better, because even the swings from Police are getting better right there. While KVC, you can see most of the points that they're playing, you'll see them looking at the surface. So they really need to get themselves in order and organize that as well.
Yeah, of course, strategy remains the same,
Yeah.
and Eli is of course at the service line. We are used to seeing him jump serving, and you can see he's really going for that floater because the strategy is to serve out the receiver attackers. And when he's really having a hard time, and off the hands is lucky there.
Yes, he is. He is. I thought he's taking off and not contacting the ball when it's high.
Yes.
Then when he comes down, that's how he gets blocked or had to send that ball out there. I hear him when he used to be a force to reckon as well
Yes.
during his days as well.
And before he went out, he used to play middle. And
Oh, really?
He was really a very good middle player and
That's
blocker as well.
interesting.
You really need to have a backdate conversation with him, and he will tell you. He will tell you the things.
And we see them getting a block there. And assist Crispus and Christopher. Right
Yeah.
there, Christopher has had several blocks, and you want that from your middles. You want your middles to get those blocks so that you can really have the break points. That ball was Ayos ball right there, but he was stuck down.
Yeah, and that is a very soft landing for that ball. You can really see the attacker coming with the hands raised, and of course you can really see Ayo didn't make any effort maybe to try and move and play that ball. And of course that is Johnny. Johnny, of course, funny enough, is really having challenges with service, but scoring and of course helping his team break off is really helping them, and that is very unfortunate there. Of course, we talked about the ground. And of course, we also care about the health
players'
of
health, yes, that's
players,
true.
and you can see. And of course, if we talk about players' health, we can't forget of what happened, of course, on Sunday. Of course, very unfortunate event there to Silva, of course, the opposite player of Elion, and of course, everyone that has stood with Silva and supported the cause. We really, really appreciate, of course, all the other clubs that have contributed to that cause, and of course Ntinda, Sport S, Squad X, together with Must. Of course, everyone is contributing. Really, we appreciate, and of course the player as well sends his regards to everyone that is keeping him there in their prayers, and we hope to see him really come back very soon.
That is some of the reasons why I stay in sport. I've really found family in sport. I've found friends, like all my best friends. I've found them in sport. So yeah, KVC is being a bit complacent. That ball was
Yes.
was defendable, but I'm happy that police now you can see they're taking those swings. They're just not only just being there; they're taking those swings. They've changed a bit of their pass. I'm not sure about their body language though. Still, you know.
But of course, like you talked about David there, you can see he's really pushing the team. He's really pushing. He's an opposite player now. We are used to see him come on as a receiver. And of course, now Brian, who is outside as well, has that body language challenge. And David is the best fit for that.
Oh yes. At times you do need to put a player that you know is going to continue pushing the team, and he goes for another swing,
Yeah.
and he scores right there.
And I think he has mastered the art. He doesn't have to really go hard, and
Yeah.
he knows I have a setter, and behind guys are not moving to pick these balls. Why don't I just softly put them there? And you can see if the previous point we just witnessed, the ball that landed on court, Christopher could have been furious. Of course, with someone who is at position 6, because that ball was touched off the block, and yeah, someone could have played that ball. But of course, Ayo is able to get that ball through a 3-man blocker there, and it's a score for KVC.
There's something that I'm noticing from both these teams, but I'm not sure if players or
This is going to go with the same strategy as the KVC has been doing. Bernard off the hands, and the ground really is still challenging these both teams, and you can see the scores are really tight now.
could it be the reason why they're not setting middle, maybe to
I-
say middles need to move faster?
Yes.
But they're scared of
I
the
really
ground.
think that is the reason, because
Okay.
even if it is me and the challenge of course the middle players are really going to look at the ground and be like, no, I can't,
move fast,
I really
yeah.
have to move
Okay.
fast, and the ground is not okay.
Yeah,
So
it's understandable.
I think that is what the setters are really going through here, and you can see there.
So that's for me the reason why then middles should just see the body posture of the setter.
Yes.
And you just switch to
Adjust
that
to
position.
it.
Yeah.
And of course, now off the hands, Mwenyi, off the hands of David there, and it's a score for team KVC. They are now trying to open their lead again. 2 points now.
And a good service there coming up. And then
Yes.
there was quite some line there. That wasn't even line. That was like a huge
It was a
gap that Smith
huge
had left.
space for the setter to cover there, and you can see Ellie was easily able to put that ball through the block there, and now it's tight again.
12-12. Part of the key things that I've noted, however, that I feel like we do need to change is like how you saw Kasuja picking up that ball and wanting to roll it outside.
Yes.
We do need some education on that. I hope if their coaches listening and their players listening, we do need to know that you just roll the ball on the outside of the coach. Pretty good service and a good set right there. Matthew has understood the assignment that they're going to serve me and I'm going to pass that ball.
Yes.
I haven't seen a block from Police.
Not yet. We are still waiting for it. And of course, Kasuja goes out and back comes Christopher in the middle there. And of course, Chris is really having a good time, of course, playing with Rukundo. And you can see all the balls so far he has set to Rukundo. I think he has been able to convert.
Yes, he has been able
points.
to convert. That's true.
And he's going to look for him every time. And this time around is unlucky. He's brought down by Ellie, of course, together with Ezra there.
There was no one to cover that ball. I think KVC are not doing a good job in covering that ball, but also he had no time to quite go out. That came back quick there, which is, like I was saying, I needed to see a block from Police because blocks make that difference. And it's a good thing we are on 17-17 right now.
That attack from the back line is retrieved by Police, and again Ayo is going to go and he errors there, and that is a score for Police. I think really that was the first time Chris gave him that ball. He had a very good takeoff and swing as well, and the second one I think was hesitant.
Confusion. When rain begins, Kavio. Kila mtu anakimbia kwa yake.
Our man who is serving will make much server. When rain
They went to the back. They went to the back. Which left it?
the was an arrest.
Sorry about that, viewers. I hope you are hanging in there. There was a power issue here at NSAMBYA Sports Grounds. We are back on, but I'm sure you will just see there that tables have turned and it is now 1 set all. And I'll ask Moses to just briefly give you what changed. What did Police do well to get that set? What did KVC not do?
Yeah, of course, we are back and welcome back, everyone. We are still here and we are coming to you live from the Yes Center, the home of Sports Volleyball Club. Talking about the game, Police has officially handed themselves the second set, and you can see that they came to play in the second set. Most of the things they did were working in terms of defense, and of course the service as well worked. And Johnny and Ellie, the receivers, of course, they were able to score most. And KVC side started the set quite very slowly, and they were very complacent. Of course, we mentioned about a team that wins a set and starts being complacent, and I think that has taken KVC down. They were not able to counter because they played the game and it was a tie for scores, and Police kept on dragging until the last minute when they stretched off and took, of course, that set. But nonetheless, the third set is on, and we can see KVC now have decided to introduce Onapa. Onapa is on, of course, in that opposite role, which Rukundo Smith has been covering up. But of course, now you can really see on the side of Police, they are now geared up, they are ready to take on this KVC side. I think they have realized that, hey, the first set we lost was not really worth it. And now they are really going to put a lot of pressure on this KVC side. And we are really going to witness the game here. Very, very tight and competitive game.
For me, I'm seeing a change there. Onapa is in. I think being an experienced player, good move. But however, I feel like it's not that Smith had done any error.
Not
I
at
feel
all.
like there's other players that he can think of quite contradictory. Sometimes you the fact that you say that David really trying hard, however, he slipped there and could not get that point.
But I think KVC just slept on the job because we already discussed about the substitution which just brought in Endra to serve. Of course, Chris there, the middle player, was doing well in terms of service. Okay, for me, I don't know about you, coach, but I think he was really trying to strategically serve. I didn't see the reason or the need to bring Endra on court because he wasn't able to cover, let alone really make that service hard for police because they're able to pick and score very, very immediately.
See, those are the changes for me that I always talk about. That I'm like, if we don't have stats as a country, if you don't prioritize those as coaches, we then tend to make decisions based on nothing. So hence we saw that decision coming. However, for me, the difference in police was that they played it basic, but they had David, who was really pushing them for every ball. So for them, every ball was an agent ball. We saw them saving strategically, and they still look like they are doing so. They are really picking on Matthew, and Ayo also had quite a lot of errors in that set. So I think that basically sums how it is 1-1 right now.
Yeah, and of course that is David. We call him David Say. He has come up with that service error. It was a tight one. We expected it to go over the net, but unlucky for him there, it was able to bounce back to his side. And of course, Bernard is back on the front court, and Chris is now at the service line, and he's going to really error.
Yeah, a rushed toss there that doesn't go that high, and such errors, they worry me, especially coming from KVC. But I do still feel like also police is not looking like a threat. You get it. So both teams are actually not looking like a threat, but anyway, one team will eventually take the night. So in short, it's really some pretty quite slow volleyball. Yes, the surface is playing a big part, and a monster block there. Is that Eli?
That is Hassan, the setter,
That is
combining
Hassan,
with
the setter.
Ezra.
Yeah. Yes,
And of
Ezra,
course, you
not
can
Eli.
see the celebration that has gone wild there from the teammates because it's rare for a setter to block, and you can really see how happy they are from the bench, and of course, even those substitute players, and even the players on court. Now we are again at level 5-5.
That gives them a boost actually.
Yes.
For me, blocks will always give people that, because we hadn't seen them celebrate a point like that.
Yeah.
And obviously when someone goes to save after such a monster block, you want to tell them to calm down a bit and
Just have
try
that
and
ball
pick
on
a
court.
save. Yes.
Eli just errors there and served the ball wide off court.
We see a change saving strategy for KVC.
Yes.
They've been going for the left side attackers who are on front court,
Yeah.
but we've seen now they've sort of like changed they're going for like towards zone 1 between 1 and 6 there, and an error from police.
Yeah, and of course, the pressure is going to keep piling on the side of police now that KVC has come up with a change that Onapa is on. And you can see there, off the hands, and it definitely lands on court as well. Kasuja should be in position to play that ball because he really looked at it going, and the ball just lands on court to his best covering position, by the way.
The surfaces are dry now, so there's no reason for a player not to move and challenge himself to like, defense is an attitude,
Yeah.
And that reception they're not going well. And Ayo really, when he starts on those which doesn't cross the net, where you really think, you know what, the ball is quite low, just cross it over the net, they really become way too many.
Yeah, and you can see the block had ganged up on him, and he really went, even his body language in terms of swing there, it was not really going to be a very heavy attack there. But as we speak, KVC leading the set, of course, by just a single point. And of course, the lights are on, and KVC being a team that trains in Lugogo, they may have a higher hand here, but of course, you don't know. This is a sport where we really expect anything to happen. But
Yeah,
police is fighting on.
These
Police
are
is
their
fighting.
training times, really, so we should see them starting to get energized. However, for me, it looks like it is police that is energized. It's still not all the players of police side. KVC is now having a lot of errors from the players that they really depend on, while um, police is really starting to make those small celebrations. For me, volleyball playing starts from the celebrations. How do you celebrate that 1 point? How do you build up from not getting 1 point? And
Yeah, that is poor reception from Ayo. And we have seen Ayo quite really break his team twice here in terms of errors, and it's not going to really help his team. You can really see the setter is backcourt, and Ayo is trying to pass that ball over the net, and the setter is forced to error. And the service is really good from.
And a monster block right there by Team Police on Onapa, and I think that's what they've been looking forward to, enjoying blocking Onapa, because at times he tends to just choose to go hard as compared to trying to score that point.
And of course, a free ball now. Hassan with the set to Johnny, who just goes and the ball is retrieved. Free ball again coming their way. Hassan picks it. Ellie with the set. Johnny swings, but the ball is blocked down again. David's going to go, and Kasuja. Off the hands again goes Mwenyi with the energy, of course, off the hands of David Say. And now we are level again in this third set.
That's a point that they really needed. It took so long to be a side out, but it was going to be a 2-point gap, which would have been really a bit hard for them to cover up. But they eventually get it. And I'm hoping you're noticing the fighting spirit that is now has been ignited in the police side right now. Clumsy play from both teams there. It's like they are not really steady, and David manages to clean up after the setter right there, and when he gets a touch on a ball that was really going out, the libero didn't quite time it well there. But I think both teams right now need to settle. They need to settle. Setting by other players is not really coming out.
The pace and of course the intensity in the game is really getting high, and you can see the libero maybe could have thought that ball was touched by the front players, but I don't think really there was a touch there. Now they really have to dig and side out, and Igune is brought down, but the ball is still in play.
Good cover there, good cover. That's for me why I keep telling you that police are now in fighting mode.
Yes,
right there.
You can see that monster block from Johnny combining with Igune, and they bring down, of course, Mwenyi, who has been trying to use the hands of the blockers of police, and we are going to see Johnny go into the service box, and of course, Johnny has had quite a number of errors in terms of service. We want to see how he really does here.
It's quite easy to block Mwenyi there because he's not really going that high, and he wants to hit it hard, so it's easy. And an error there on Onapa. So the number of errors that he has done compared to Smith, who played 2 sets, really has already passed. For me, that's why I was telling you that I feel like in as much as they put in Onapa, Smith was not really what made them lose that set. So they should have really looked into it. But without stats, as I always say, you can't really say anything. And another
very good pick there.
Good pick, yes.
Yeah. And now the mistakes are becoming many on the side of KVC in terms of attack, and they're really going to be forced to go for a timeout here. And you can really see Chris is trying to put that ball in the middle, and I don't see really why you would really want to go so hard on such blocks, and the ball is really attacked so widely off.
And he's going straight. He needs to pick an angle. There's only one blocker, so he needs to be able to just cross his arm or just get his thumb down there to side out on that ball. So police will really enjoy that in the 3-point gap, but police being fighters, we need to see. But KVC also at times when they get their minds to it, they can really fight. So let's see, because at the moment police does have the advantage of that.
Yeah, I think police is really jointly as a team, they are really trying to pick up the pieces that KVC has really been trying to be very complacent. Now that Onapa is on, you can really see Chris, the setter, of course, is trying to put those balls in that position, and is really struggling. The balls are not really that perfect for Napa. And looking at the ground as well, Napa could really be still fearing the ground. But like we mentioned, Rukundo was really not doing bad, you know. Those are very many touches to me.
That ball went on the ground, but I think the refs can't really see because of the speed of the ball. But he eventually manages to get that ball down on a second chance right there. The point gap is covered, and
That's the third
setter
touch,
comes
and that
in the
should be
middle.
it shouldn't really be a ball going over.
Onapa is going to do a jump there, and he saves it out.
That's error number 3 on Onapa for his team. Now you can really see that Police is going to really try so hard to maintain this 2-point lead here that they have just exposed, and you can see they are really going for Matthew here because everyone has moved to the line. They are really going to go straight, and Igune, of course, is very good at position service as well. And you can really see he's telling his teammates, I'm going to go for him. Let's just put the screen there and see what he can do. And he goes straight for him. And of course, Napa comes big.
Yeah, it's easy when they close out and Matthew manages to pass. It means they take a long time. As you see, their movement was long there. However, the body language of Police though now says, you know what, we want this, we're waiting for it.
Yeah.
So let's see if that 3-point gap can really come in handy. I'm not sure if the scores are correct. Should it not be 2?
Yeah, that is the right call, I think, from the referee there. The ball was really down, and I think that is a carry. Oh, of course, Ayo can't keep that ball in play. It was deflected off the hands of Chris there in the middle from that attack from Ezra. But of course, Mwenye is able to play it back in position 6 there. And Ayo, I think in terms of his pulling out, he couldn't really control. And now he's really forced to allow that ball go through below the net, and it's a score for Police. David with the service, he goes for the libero now.
He's really putting
Ball
a
is-
lot of intensity, David,
Yes.
on that service.
Early big swing, and he gets on upper there, flat-footed, and just like that, 4-point lead is opened by Police. And you can really see that Police is really going hard on this KVC side. And I don't know if the coaches, of course, we can see Jensen Chestit there, the lead coach today. I don't know if he's really seeing that things are not going his way. He really needs to come up with a strategy. And you can see free balls are everywhere. Now again, Police have a chance. Eli, again, he goes to an upper, but that ball is retrieved. Free ball again. Hassan is going to do that set again. Oh, Polo Johnny swing, but he goes straight to the net.
I think that's the first we've seen of from them. I would have thought just give the player on full
On full
position
court,
the
yeah.
years. He's really done well to go down the line to follow a crisp pass. And we know that, yes, Onapa defended one,
Yeah.
but you can only defend so many, a few number of times. So I feel that was a letdown from the setter. He tries to dump, and he does find Matthew Anawe there. And that point lead is definitely proving too hard
Yeah.
for KVC to catch up on.
And you can see it was not even intentional that he wanted to dump that, but because we have not seen quite any kind of dumps from him, Hassan there, the setter, and you can see he has caught the players of KVC. They are sleeping and flat-footed as well. That ball just goes and lands straight on court. Ayo off the hands of Hassan, and that's the point for KVC. KVC have again cut it to 3. And of course, we are still in third set now.
Yeah, but like we said, David has played a big role in making sure that Police. This one is behind, so we follow that. Oh, it's 1. So for those of you watching, the set scores are not 2-1 to Police. The set scores are 1-1, and the service errors have really come in a lot from KVC. Crispas is one of those who has really made quite several of them when Police has actually improved, because they started also on a low. We've seen them really focus and get all their serves in. Ezra goes to save there. He's quite saving it easy but strategically, and Matthew doesn't manage to
Yeah,
have that ball stay in place.
powerful swing from, of course, Igune. I think he should be happy that that ball came back to him and he was very comfortable. Now you can see Endra has been introduced in a position for Matthew, and of course, I don't see any change from police. They are going to go straight to the person who has just come in, and you can see they are stretching Endra there. Onapa comes big, but Johnny tries to pick it. Of course, no one is going to play it in position 6.
Yeah, a good fight there from police trying to pick that ball, but that was also really a good pass and a good set by Crispus. You see, he goes high and contacts that ball high above.
Yeah.
But with the side outs that police has been having, honestly, they've been having side outs that are really consistent. However, they make that error again. I do think this pipe, maybe they are rushing it because they haven't really played it so much.
Yeah, that's true, and I agree. Of course, there's no need for you to really go so hard. That is an emergency set, and you can expect anything to happen. Ellie says to really go hard, and now you can see free balls are going to the way of KVC, and Onapa is going to come high and hard on the line there, and you can see the libero there, Oumo, is not able to retrieve that ball back there.
Ayo seems to also have found his contact on the service line there. We see police are being forced to be just off system or send the balls as free balls. But I don't think that will take police's mind off the fact that they are leading the set, even as Coach Luke calls that timeout. I think he might just make a few changes, see if after the timeout, if they can side out or make a few changes, you know. But they do really need to see if they can get a point. Also to notice that Onapa has really been is coming in now that the pass is stable and has done a great job in managing to see which ball is for diagonal, which ball is for line.
Yeah.
I think which is something that really we have to note. I saw David as well is also one player who's able to know when he should go line and when he should go diagonal. Let's see if Ayo can stay consistent on that serve. It's passed well this time, and a dump that is picked. Good pick there by Crispus, and then he's gonna give it to Onapa as usual.
And that's a very good score from police in terms of defense, and of course you can see there was nowhere Crispus was going to put that ball other than Onapa's position. You can see the block was there in place and they're able to bring him down, and the ball goes back. Everyone was in the front court. Ayo is trying to retrieve, and because you can see Kasuja there trying to struggle as well, and that ball really goes.
A good read there from police to know that the ball is going to go to Onapa, but that set also didn't reach for Onapa to have the attack options. An error there at a very, very crucial point.
Yeah.
Police should be enjoying that gap. We see Edmond coming in. I would say it's a good substitution because Chris hasn't really served.
Yeah.
If that's him who's serving.
But I see him
Bernard.
now Bernard is in service, and of course Edmond is in position 5 there. I don't know what the coach could have thought there, but we want to see what strategy he was trying to implement. And that is a foul on the setter. That is a carry. Yes, and the referee was really right.
At a point where they really, really needed it most. And finally, we get to see Sharif come on.
Yeah.
However, I would say the setter who was on really also has played his part. He's played a big role in really pushing the team to where they are right now.
Yeah, and these are cold temperatures. You don't know how Sharif has been, whether he has been keeping warm. You don't know. But I want to see what game strategy he's come on with, because he has been having a conversation, of course, with his coach outside there. Now you can see Johnny is going to receive and Sharif is going to penetrate from that position there. And Eli with a good pick, of course. Sharif, the ball is really low, and that's a score for KVC.
And the scores are level right now. It seemed like a good idea, but he needed to just put that ball high. I wouldn't say because the block was split. There was a gap there.
So Igune was trying to really dodge that block of Chris there, and unlucky for him there, the ball wasn't able. And Onapa just watches that ball go into the ground, and you can really see the disappointment from the blockers there. They really expected him to play that ball. And of course, we are going to see Kitara. Of course, we call him normally here the local name of Bulgaria. He's going to be introduced in the game to maybe try to defend and put some high blocks there for David, who has gone out. But of course, Police is still holding on to their narrow lead now. It was at some point 4 point lead, but now it cuts to just 1 point. Joel Endra.
And
That is very, very sluggish.
that is sluggish. Yeah, that is really sluggish from Police. I think they need to compose themselves. They need to compose themselves right now. They've stopped playing their strategic game. They've just panicked because KVC has slightly improved on their service.
Yeah.
But they just need to stay calm and just play their game.
Very good pick from Kasuja, and of course Onapa is going to go and off the hands, retrieved, and Sharif is going to force that ball in position for.
Another good pick there, and then it will keep going to Onapa, and he has finally scored.
And of course now KVC have finally led in this set that Police has been leading from point number 5. Now KVC are just 2 points from taking this set, of course, and you can see the frustration on the faces of the Police players there. Sharif is now going to go back and Hassan is going to come on.
Yeah, I agree with that coach move. I think Hassan had done a great job, but we see who called the timeout? Police.
It's Police.
It's Police calling a timeout there, maybe to possibly try and slow down KVC. They really had a good lead there. At some point, that lead was like 4 points.
Yes.
And then they eventually lost it.
And that is where we need the mental concentration, of course, of players, especially when the team is leading. And that is what happened to KVC when they took the first set. When they came on for the second set, you could really see that their body language had changed and they had relaxed a bit. And that is, I think, what has happened to Police here, because now the pressure is on their side. They were leading comfortably. At some point, it was about 5 to 4 points, and now they are chasing. And I think that is credit to KVC because they have managed to really pick up themselves and be like, guys, yes, we can make it. And now they are on the lead.
Yes, we do have 2 short blockers right there. So let's see where Hassan will choose to set. Christopher has been blocking well in the middle right there, and Onapa will jump and in the middle. But does it get a touch or is?
It's on court. That's what the ref has called. And
that's on court.
That is very, very good play from, of course, Hassan.
Even after a choice that I really thought was not quite what you would have expected.
Yes,
because he
yes.
could have simply thrown it to 2. But we haven't seen him also set 2 well. I don't think that's his
like
strength.
I think Hassan has challenges with position too, and most of the games he has really played, we have seen him really struggle to back set, and that ball really goes softly, and of course it lands on court. Holding out now. KVC set points for KVC, and of course 23 for Police.
If I was KVC right there, I would send Ayo to go and block in 4, because Hassan, unless maybe one out of the blue, he throws the ball to 2, but he hasn't been putting Ayo, not giving him a job right there. You see what I meant? And he does go there.
Very good
However,
pick, of course, from
pickets that
Endra.
very well there, and they have another chance right there, and in the middle he goes.
Yeah, and that's a good score from Ezra. We are going to see David come back on court, of course, and Chitara going to go off, and David is going to go for service. He's a really good server as well, and you can see the screen is again going straight there to position 1. I think now they are trying to serve someone in position 1.
They're trying to save Endra.
Endra, yes.
Yes, they're trying to send, which is the strategy that they've always
They have really
been
used
doing.
it, yeah.
So, but that relieves Ayo. So if they save Endra, Ayo needs to just open up and look. And
yeah, and he just does the easy part.
Because how can you be picking on a receiver who's at the back there? Because he can simply say, you know what, that's my only job.
But yeah, you could really see that the service as well was not that hard. It was a soft placed ball, and then you could see Endra very easily pick it, and the setter was very comfortably able to set for Ayo. And now again we have set point number 2 for KVC. I don't think that was a good decision from Hassan, and now just like that, KVC have managed to win the third set.
You have Edmond on the outside, a very short blocker, and unlike Christmas, who will go down to try and stretch and have a defensive touch, Edmond is just jumping in. You get in the middle there, even with Bernard, who has been a bit slow, and you just make your side out. So the scores are 2-1,
of course, in favor of Team KVC, and credit of course goes to KVC for the big comeback in terms of chasing for the lead that Police had exposed, of course, in the third set. And we were all convinced that maybe Police was really going to take this set. But you can see in terms of the changes and, of course, the service pressure that Ayo put on the receivers, Johnny and, of course, Eli, they're able to force us from the setter, poor decision making there. And now they are trailing. They really now have to dig. The Police side has to dig again down there in terms of strategy and maybe come up with a better plan in this fourth set.
And meanwhile, Onapa is fired up right now.
Yeah.
He was able to get those swings, but the way he was getting those swings for me was an Onapa who's really thinking, and Onapa who's seeing that this set is not reaching. I have to go diagonal. This set is right there, and the line is open. And we saw him also dumping a couple of times.
Yeah, and of course you can see on the court there, the side of KVC now is really dry. I can really tell you that it's dry, and Police have to put that into their minds, basing on the fact that they are chasing for a set, maybe to try and force us to a decider. But of course, you have mentioned Onapa is fired up, and like I mentioned, the lights are on, and this is KVC training time, and we don't know what Police has in their minds as well. But of course, we wait and see what happens in the fourth set. Of course,
they feel like, you know what, we're in our home ground now. It's the same training time that they all normally train this time of the day. The lights, so it's really they're now looking comfortable. Endra did, as compared to the second set, he did come in and make a great contribution to his team that day. We saw him passing quite a lot, but he did have one side out that was done cleverly in terms of a. Yo was a bit still silent. I don't think he got maybe enough sets for us to really see, considering that Onapa is now on court.
Yeah, and of course you can see the confirmation of the set scores, and 2-1 on course. The points you had the first set really go so easily on the side of KVC, taking 25-13 and now 25-23. Of course, Police winning that second set, and now this third set has been a highly contested one. KVC had to dig from a 4-point lead, and now they won that set, of course, 26-24, and we are really ready and want to see what happens in the fourth set, how Police is going to respond, and of course how KVC is also going to come and maybe try to finish the job and finish the evening on a high of 3 points, of course. And of course, we are back for the fourth set. And ladies and gentlemen, if you've just joined us, just know that the game has already been underway here. And of course, KVC are having 2 sets and Police has just 1 set. And we are on for the fourth set. And of course, KVC now, you can see the changes there. Onapa is starting, and so is Endra. And of course, even the setter Edmond is starting, of course, in this fourth set. Police, we don't see really changes. Of course, the same lineup that started the third set is the very one. David said they are in the opposite role, and of course Eli and Johnny are receiving Igune, and of course Ezra are still playing in the middle. Yeah, that is I think
setter overreach.
Yes.
There. So the setter is tall. What I like about Hassan is one of those few tall setters. So definitely he used his height to try and set it, yet it actually passed the band, and that's how KVC gets that ball. And with such challenges, you never really quite win it with the referees.
Yeah.
Eli. What a way by Eli to use a poor. In fact, it was the setter who did very well there because that pass was quite poor.
Yeah.
But the setter corrected it, and that's the volleyball that I was told that you know what, you correct it for the next person to have a better opportunity of scoring it.
Yeah, and of course it's 2-2. We have just started the fourth set, and of course Police is looking to win this set so that maybe can go for a decider. But KVC are also, on the other hand, trying to find a way of winning this set because all the previous games they have really been separating and splitting points, of course, with their opponents. And big swing from Endra off the hands of David there, and that's a score for KVC.
I think those are the balls that Endra plays, the shooting outside balls.
Yeah.
But also he wants to see the hands, and then he can just wipe off from the block.
Yeah. Onapa now is going to serve, and of course, as usual, is going to go for that jump service, and he errors. You know, I have quite a challenge with the players who do the jump service because it's going to reach a moment in time when the game is tense and they have to backtrack and start doing the float service. We really want to understand how does a player get to change his mind. Maybe the coach could have maybe been telling them in training there that jump serve.
For me, the idea is, have you been training that jump serve?
Yeah.
If you've been training that jump serve, there's no reason to change. You know, unless maybe you're talking about a distance, but if you already he started jump serving here, it means we should see him continue to jump serve until the end. But also the idea of jump serving and then you just roll the ball to the opponent.
Because we have witnessed key players in big teams. You can see Nemo having Ongom Ivan there. He jump serves. We all know he jump serves, but in pressure times, you can really see him starting to float serve. Now there is Onapa who is used to jump service. Then at some point in time, he goes and float serves. That is what beats my mind. And of course, I look at the coaches. I'm like, if you really want this player to do the jump service, why don't you motivate him the more? But even you as a player, why don't you take it yourself and be like, yes, I want to jump serve. Whatever consequences, I need to jump serve. But
at times, players play what they want to play. For example, someone would have trained the jump serve, right? But they haven't gotten it on court.
Yeah.
So the float is deemed mostly the easiest. And as a coach, you'll be now looking at, you know what, maybe just serve over or something like that, or serve something that will be challenging, because if the jump serve surely is not challenging and is not going through, so what's the reason of keeping that player doing it? You know, so I would prefer a situation where if the player wants to jump serve, go hard or go home.
Okay, and of course now KVC are stretching slowly. As you can see the scores there, it's 7-4 now. Attack errors coming out from Police side. You can see Johnny there, Opolot, with that wide attack. Goes off court, and but the reception is there, and of course good sets, and now you can see he's able to score off the hands of Edmond and Bernard.
And that was the situation that I spoke about. You saw this young man, how many times he has saved.
Yeah.
However, good side out there. The Police right side attackers have tonight really done so well despite what they're given. That's why I tend to query when then they change, because that's where Hassan has really been setting.
Yeah, because we cannot limit the weather, of course, we can't avoid. But if KVC really has to play like this, because Police has been a team that, of course, has been struggling in terms of winning games, and you can see even KVC themselves have been struggling. But remember, KVC tomorrow has a very, very tight contest with UCU, and if they take this kind of momentum to that game, it's really going to bite them back very, very hard.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Really, for in preparing to play UCU, we need to see them really go faster. We need to see them have this kind of intention.
Yes.
Like the way Ayo is hitting it right now. But we see KVC also tends to have that kind of adrenaline increase depending on who they are playing. We've seen them when they've played Nemo and all the other teams. They really tend to rise up to the occasion. So the passes are going all over right now, and
Ayo is going to swing hard, but that ball really goes over. I think that is a very good pick from Kasuja. You can really see he's covering position 6, and Endra deciding to take position 5 with the libero. And he's really picking those balls very well. Maybe the emergency set from Bernard was not that good for Ayo, but you can give the ball to the opponent. Let's try and defend.
Especially after you've defended it this way.
Yes.
And he gets a side out. I think Edmond said I've seen the difference between him and Crispus. Crispus, he does have those quick release, but his sets were not really reaching to to the antenna, so that the players have a choice of seeing where do I want to attack to, So for me, KVC right now, I think they've got both good, solid setters right there.
Yeah.
And no cross there from
Igune.
Yeah.
And you can see KVC are now starting to maintain that 3-point lead, and as they hit the 10-point.
We are back on. Sorry about that. We had power. There seems to be power problems, but I'm suspecting, DJ, that it could have been because of the rains that we had earlier on.
Yeah, the rains were really very heavy, and there was a lot of wind. You can expect maybe something could have gone wrong in the wiring there. That the technical team best has to know. But of course, we continue with the game, and you can see KVC are really still pulling the stride there. They're leading with the 2 points, and Onapa goes high, and that's a score for KVC.
That's how you should use. He should use his height. Honestly, he's very high up there. On the side of Police, however, I think right now the engine is really refusing to start. We saw them at some point really trying, but now it's as if KVC. It seems as if KVC has sort of overpowered them in a way.
Yeah.
Good attack right there.
That is Ezra, of course, and I think while we're off, there was a change on 2 changes, of course, made on the side of Police. There you can see Sharif is on, and so is, as we know him as Bulgaria, he's now in the service line here.
And that's quite a good save. They're forcing the middle to receive. However, there is an unnecessary net error there from Police after they'd really. I thought that was quite a clever, really clever saving.
I think Endra, of course, realized the blockers are 3, and he was very clever to go really high and try to maybe get the fingers, and of course, he was able to force that net error.
There's some lack of communication right there. Who's supposed to be assigned the blocking the setter there, and Sharif is a clever setter as well. He will try those once in a while.
Yeah, of course, Eli. Today we have not seen him do the jump service that we always see and used to him doing, and of course now that is an attack error. I think the communication between him and his setter, of course, Chris and Edmond there need to really agree on which kind of ball, and you can see Endra going to talk to both of them, and I think he's really trying to communicate as well that you need to agree which ball you're taking.
He's also going in there with a short hand, a short arm, right there. He's really making, he's swinging very well. However, when it comes to the attack, he's not pointing to be able to allow himself to contact the ball at the highest reach. So then it means he's got a shorter arm at the elbow there, and that causes him to make an error. However, they get a side out from was that Ayo?
No, that was Onapa. And of course, he's the only run 2-man right now for Edmond in terms of breaking through. And yeah, that's a very good block from Edmond. Of course, joining with Bernard. Of course, these are 2 young players.
Very young.
Who understand themselves when it comes to the high school competition games there.
I haven't seen Bernard getting a lot of sets today, Moses.
Not really.
Yeah, but it's like also he seems to be content to be like, okay, I'll just be there for the team and I will just play my role, and and at times I feel like it's 2 ways. For him to grow, he needs to be able to get those sets, but also in terms of teamwork, if you understand each other and you're like, you know what, I'm there as a team player, it makes sense at times. It's just the opponent to then realize to say, wait a minute, this person is not really getting it, so there's no reason for us to be waiting and trying to block him.
But of course, now Police is going to be forced to go into a timeout and maybe try to stabilize things a little bit. Of course, Coach Luke there trying to talk to his players and maybe try to calm them down. But of course, KVC looking at now clinching the set, and of course the night will be theirs in terms of points, which will be a very, very big achievement for them in this weekend here, of heading towards the next day where they have a big opponent in UCU. We all know what UCU can do when it comes to playing bigger teams.
That's true, but also all know the psychology that UCU and KVC sort of like have. It turns out KVC is big brother for UCU.
Yeah.
So at times those boys have to really be mentally strong when they face KVC. However, they're probably going to ride on the fact that it has been going very well for them.
Yeah.
I think they beat Nemo.
They really beat Nemo during a midweek action there.
Yeah. So yeah, let's see what happens. KVC comfortable leading now 17-12, and this is what we would have expected. We did not really expect them to get a set and a block touch there, good block touch by Ayo, and he will take it once and it comes back again, and that young man will give it to him again to have a try, and he scores.
Yes, and you can really see that was a very big swing from Ayo to the line, and guess who was there? It was Brian Kitara, and that ball really gets him there in that position.
He's got a quick arm swing, by the way. Ayo, if he really gets the ball, he's able to move that wrist, and he's got high contact as well. And it's good to see that today he looks mentally stable as compared to some of the days where we've done commentary here, Moses, and we've said he seems to be disturbed.
Yeah. And of course, you can really see people are trying to comment online. Jude Abigaba, you're saying the center player of KVC should block the ball, not the guy's hand, and open up his palm. Coach, I don't know if you have something to say about that comment. That is someone's view.
Well, I think we take views as they are, but I don't think there has been a lot of balls that are threats for us to really like dwell into it and discuss about that, But I think he's talking about the middle blocking.
Yeah.
Is that so? Your KVC are now being the KVC that we know really defending well, but also the fact that police is not really giving up on those balls right there is something to reckon right now, Moses. It's as if really police have a smaller gap to cover, and Ayo rips it down the line right there. And I must say one thing, Ayo is not one of those to open up the line for. Leave diagonal for him and
he's
to get in.
He's really going to drill the line very, very well. And of course now KVC are comfortably leading, of course, with 8 points there, and you can see Herbert now is going to be introduced by police. Johnny, I think, is going to have a rest, or maybe that is done for him for the evening. As you can see, they are really trailing so much in this fourth set, and I think KVC have really picked up from the pieces that they failed to make put together there in the set they lost. And now you can see Sharif there is trying to be obvious, because Ayo is not even thinking of going behind where the maybe opposite player is. And you can see the confidence he has when now Edmond is going to set that ball. I think they have had a lot of time to train with this young man here, Edmond. Even on upper, he's comfortable attacking his balls, and so
true.
is Ayo.
I
because
noticed
when they were playing with the Crispers, Ayo was trying to really struggle there. But you can see everyone is really trying to go and attack these balls, and that was quite an error from Onapa on attack. I think the ball didn't really quite make it there to where he wanted it.
But also it's the speed of the sets that Edmond really gives. I think KVC naturally they don't really play those sets that are a bit slower. So at some point, Crispus, one moment he will release them and the next moment he's not releasing them, which is what is making the difference. But I was going to talk about Sharif to say, I think if Sharif had the opportunity, he would keep running middle, especially when there's Bernard, because we've seen him the last 3 balls that he's put on middle, they've managed to really score, and that's what we saw someone talking about here online.
Yeah. Oh, and of course, Ekon, Brenda. Hi, Ekon. Of course, Coach Memory should be familiar with the name Ekon.
I'm a fan of Ekon, by the way. I'm a fan of number 10, Uganda basketball.
And she is always following these games every time we stream them, and she's always appreciating and commenting. And you can really see her comment there is directed to you, which you will need to respond, of course, to Ekon. I know she's waiting. And of course, Jude is back. Is saying, I mean 1-on-1.
15-20.
So I think he's talking about the comment, the first comment he posted about the block at the center player.
I am being informed here that one of the people who watches and follows volleyball, Ekon Brenda, the one I'm a fan of, used to frequent volleyball and used to really come for the matches. But people are missing you here, Ekon, in the studio. They're saying they're not seeing you in the stands. But I think I'll answer for you. She's really busy. She's come from playing basketball somewhere outside. But otherwise, well informed, she'll still be here. I am well informed.
Yeah, of
Okay.
course, we shall be happy to see Econ and, of course, have her around the volleyball fraternity. But as it appears now, KVC are comfortably in their lead. Of course, now at some point it was 2012, and now you can really see Police has picked up the pieces, and now they are having 16 points. Free ball, of course, now goes to Napa's way, and Edmond is. And now Police have a free ball of their own. Sharif, the middle, is brought down. And Ayo goes on the swing there, and you can see Sharif didn't jump. He remained down. I think he misdirected Igune there in terms of block, because where Igune moved away from is where Ayo really put that ball. You can see, and it goes through.
Sharif is really not setting those balls high. I would love to think they've got the speed, but they're a bit rushed, and I'm suspecting that's the reason Police is not having those quick side outs.
Yeah.
The balls are just quick, but they're not having that height to give the players room to play, because we saw them most of the evening. They were scoring well from those balls that are high. Look at them right now on an off system and a transition ball, I mean, and they've been able to look for a spot, because at times, in as much as we want speedy sets, we want the height so that attackers can go up there and look where is it open, what is the block saying, and what is the set done. But if the balls are short, the players can't make any decisions.
Yeah, and that is an S service from Police, of course, and you can expect no one to do that other than Sharif. He has a very good service, and you can see he went where Onapa was. Onapa moved away, and that ball just goes and lands on court. 18-21. Police is still trying to put the fight there, but I think they are going to pick up on the latter stages of this set.
That ball is out.
Yeah, it
Thank
really
you,
looks
Ken.
out, yeah.
That ball is actually way out, but I think maybe the ref didn't see, because Onapa was on the way, and that one again was really out. And you see what I spoke about with the sets, Sharif's sets being a bit too quick and too low. They could have made use of that. Another one.
Yeah, and I think that's a line infringement from the backcourt there, and that is early, of course. I think Sharif is really trying to put everyone in the game, and it's becoming very obvious for him there. You can see he has Johnny there, and oh god, that is really too
rushed.
Too rushed, yeah.
Too rushed. It's
Too rushed.
too rushed. You need also to calm down as a player. And service error by Ayo. We saw him serving well in the third set that they won.
Yes.
But they're still comfortably in the lead. Let's see how Police goes to serve, because they look like they're screening Ayo.
And Johnny comes to the service, of course. Ayo with a good pass on upper. And Johnny is not able to play that ball back. And now we are going to see Chris, the big man in the middle, is going to come back, of course. And Kasuja, the libero, is going to go off. And KVC, 23 points against 19 for Police.
The game has sort of picked up, but not what would expect.
Yeah.
The cold weather maybe, but yeah, it has picked up on both sides. Police trailing, but really trying to put that agency to it. And Endra getting a block right there.
You least expect Endra to block, and imagine he has just brought down the opposite, and that is Kitara, Bulgaria. He has been blocked by Endra, the shortest man I can say, on the KVC block there. And of course, now it's match point for team KVC, and Police decided to call for a timeout. And of course, Bernard is on the service.
So you were right, DJ. That set KVC slept on it. Because their first set was so good. Was it 13, 12, 25,
13?
Yeah, and then they slept on the second set. But then they realized, you know what? If we sleep here, we might not get the maximum points that at the moment they do really are in need of. And we saw them really fighting to get those. But Police did also sleep on it, because the minute they got the set, they also looked a bit more comfortable.
With the lead they had, of course, of 4 points, and they dragged it up to 24 or 26. They lost that set as well. I think that has been the main demoralizing factor for Police here. And you can see Bernard errors there in service, and Police have a chance to again keep the first match point here.
Timeout working there for Coach Luke. Let's see if they can be able to block. For me, I haven't seen blocks from them, so therefore I would say KVC should easily get a side out. And Onapa is on court right there, but if they had a lot of blocks, I would be like, okay, this is going to be interesting.
Igune, of course, with the service goes for Endra, and Ayo comes from the backcourt and he's brought down. by
Because that
Brian and
was
of course
strange.
Ezra, it was really obvious and straight to the block.
Onapa is front court. And
I think-
Eddie, you haven't set that set in a while. So
Yeah.
why are you
He's
doing
having
that?
a lot of ideas on his head, and he should do the easiest part. Just put the ball where the machine is, and we get out. Yeah.
Good saving right there from Police. Good saving. Let's see if they come back. Good saving. 3 match points.
Igune, of course, coming again with a service. We want to see how he's going to do now. And he goes for Endra again. Napa, the ball is retrieved, and Sharif is going to give to Brian. Swing. And that's a score.
You could hear them call free ball there. I think the setter thought twice about giving it to Onapa.
Yes.
But I would have said he should have given Onapa that ball first time opportunity as compared to giving it to Endra, really. So yeah, that Police has managed to keep that ball in play. They are serving well, but Endra is also passing well. Setter's decisions right there seem to be, he's not really sure of what to do right now.
In such situations, of course, Edmond is going to get on pressure as the setter. Now, if KVC fails to receive perfectly, you're going to see how Edmond is going to err in terms of setting. Now, he has had 2 chances to put that ball in position 2, and he has decided to put it either way. And you can see the points are really now getting too tight contest here. And I know he's thinking that I need to put this ball and finish this game. And of course, even the attackers have to give him the confidence. Now, everyone is going to tell him, give me the ball, give me the ball. But he's the man in control, and he knows what to do. He knows where to put the ball. But we can also see it from here.
DJ,
that we really have one option now.
if it's you, DJ, where would you put that ball?
And of course, we had nothing to think about. If he had done that in the first place, the set was going to be really beaten. And that brings us, of course, to the end of this game. KVC have come out victorious at the end of the 4 sets. They have won the game 3-1, and of course, congratulations to them. And of course, Jensen, of the man who has been on the touchline as head coach today, and hard luck to Police. They have really tried to play their best. And of course, coach, I don't know what you have to say about this game here, but you have a lot, I know, and I really want to give you the chance and platform, of course, to express your concerns and of course address the just concluded match. Coach.
I think if we look at set 1, for me, it clearly says how this game should have started and how should have ended. But the complacency right there in players should really be eliminated on the side of KVC. But also Police having stepped up as well, they also suffered the same thing. So I think it's one of the things that I don't know how players need to psych up to say the minute you get the first set, just get all 3 of them. You know, we see, yes, the game can have different phases right there, but players have to prepare for those phases. And I see most teams that look like they don't have prepared for phases. So I think for me, volleyball is really a game of that mental aspect, that mental strength, but also teams knowing each other. From KVC, I think the Edmond has come in and has understood how to set for almost everyone in his team. And then Sharif right there, yes, he could set for everyone, but I think he was a bit shaky. So it was just one of those games that, you know,
it just happened like that.
Yeah, you know, I would love to see more. I've said it several times that this is Serie A.
Yeah.
This is Serie A. I'll talk of games like the young boys of Elion play. When Elion are coming to play a game, you will know that it's going to go down. So lately teams know it. And we need that from every other team that is playing Serie A. You know, we want to be that product that the Econ Branders will keep telling people from Hey Sport Basketball to say, guys, let's play ball. You know, but sometimes like this, I'm not quite seeing our product in terms of what we want it to be like. It's like we have certain games that were like, oh, this week is a big game. So I still think Police the same way I've seen them fighting when they played Elion, you know.
Yeah, and of course, thank you very much, Coach Memory. Of course, she has a lot of experience when it comes to sports science, and of course, that is her field. And basically, she has extreme experience and knowledge when it comes to speaking in terms of sports. And of course, we want to say thank you to each and everyone that has been able to join us today. Of course, our online comrades as usual. Alan Abak, we see you. Aziz Ronald, Charles, George, William, of course, Ekon Brenda, Jude Abigaba, and others who have not been able to comment. And
I
of
will
course,
look for Akon.
yes,
And
and
I'll tell
Ekon,
her.
please you also look for coach as well. And we need to see you very soon, of course, in the family, and of course share a lot and a lot. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget tomorrow the action returns, and we are coming to you again live from here in Zambia. Very many interesting games coming your way. Of course, the first game of the day will be KCB Nkumba. They will be playing Elion, that is women category, and of course that is 9 a.m. At 11 we shall have Sporters ladies. They will be playing UCU Lady Doves.
Big game.
11 a.m. Of course, Elion playing KCC, that is men. They will be playing at 2 p.m. Then of course the big one, and of course the last game of the evening will be KVC, who have just clinched a victory here against Police. They will be facing a team from Mukono, of course UCU Doves. And coach, I don't know what you expect from tomorrow's fixtures, but looking at the way they are really going to be interesting, we are going to be taken through a ride, and of course volleyball will be much interesting tomorrow.
Yeah.
And of course from us here at the media crew, Herbert, Kenneth, Coach Memory here, myself, Moses, and everyone who has been behind the scenes, we want to say thank you and have yourselves a very lively night. Bye bye.